All right, this is Honest Thoughts, Robert Whittaker versus Kelvin Gastelum. 185-pound division is like probably my favorite division with some of my favorite fighters. You know, I've liked Robert for a long time when he was fighting UL when he knocked out Jacare. I like Gastelum a lot, I like Israel a lot, I like Till a lot, and luckily they have a lot of common opponents. So when you're talking about, okay, Gastelum versus Whittaker, not only is that fight already scheduled, they both have common opponents. And even with that being said, Gastelum and Whittaker are more similar than you might expect and have a lot of similar skills, even though it looks visually very different. So it's hard to tell who would win in this fight. There's some things we know for sure, right? Whittaker, even though it doesn't seem like it, has great wrestling. Gastelum has fantastic wrestling. They both have good wrestling. Gastelum is probably a better peer wrestler. Whittaker can keep UL off of him. You know, he can take down Till, which, like, most people, like, think of Till as a striker, but he actually has amazing takedown defense. Gastelum can hold down, get up from a giant-ass Tim Kennedy just hanging all over him. And Gastelum's not even, like, a giant 170er. Like, he's a big boy, but, like, he's not like Yoel big or like Till big. You know, him and Whittaker are probably like relative sizes. So they both relative sizes, relative wrestling. This is probably not going to be a wrestling match. You know, especially since they're more wrestlers and jiu-jitsu guys. Like, no one's pulling guard in this fight. Nobody's, you know, there's neither of them are like Oliveira or anything. I think that they're around equivalent. We just don't see it from Whittaker a lot, but I know for a fact he goes to wrestling tournaments, like high-level ones outside of fights. And you know, you don't get up against UL like that without good wrestling. Okay, so what else is there to look at? They both have fucking retarded power. They both have, like, Whittaker's got power in both hands. Gastelum's got power in his left hand. Whittaker has more overall power in both hands, but Gastelum has much more power in like a typical southpaw in his left hand. Doesn't really, he throws his right, but in like combinations, not necessarily like, you know, like a Gastelum fights more like a boxer where he does use his jab, but he doesn't use it as like a solitary weapon. It's usually part of a combination. Whittaker also has good boxing, but his boxing's different. He's like a very strange lead hand. Like, he throws his lead hand like a cross, and, you know, he throws a super powerful left hook and a super powerful jab, and he usually is jumping into them. And he'll throw multiple left hooks in a row, like he did against Jacare. Like, he's got very, like, wily, you know, tricky left hand, or like against Derek Brunson. Derek Brunson came at it. That's another reason Whittaker's wrestling's off the charts. Derek Brunson couldn't take him down. You know, I think he briefly took down Israel, but, you know, he came at Whittaker like a bat out of hell, and Whittaker had this like this wily coyote, like crazy ass, like multiple left hook where he kept catching him with. So Whittaker's got the better left hand, but again, they're going to be in an open stance. Alright, so Whittaker throws usually lead leg kicks to the knee. He's been doing that a lot lately, just like Poirier's been throwing leg kicks a lot, specifically the like calf kick after Gaethje fucked Poirier's leg up. Whittaker has been using that lead side kick after his knee got jacked up against UL. Whittaker's a much better kicker than Gastelum, and I think that's going to be a factor in the fight, especially in southpaw. You know, I've seen him. You know, he'll do the Wonder Boy where he'll throw a right hand and then let his lead or his power high kick come behind that. You know, left high kick, I think the last dude that Whittaker fought, a dude that was just like fucking shredded, I forget his name. Whittaker's fought twice since losing. He fought that guy that's super shredded. He hit him with a crafty high kick, and I think that was from Southpaw also. You know, so Whittaker's got some crafty kicks. I think they're less relevant against Gastelum. I think he's got a little bit better defense. I think he's a little quicker, you know, and less prone to get hit by that stuff. But Gastelum, you know, snuck up on Adesanya with a high kick. He hit him with a high kick and hit him with a high kick and hurt him. So Gastelum throws same kicks too. You know, not as frequently. Like Gastelum relies on his boxing primarily, and his kicks are less incorporated, but still dangerous. Still something you gotta think about. Still a weapon. You know, so in a lot of ways they're even fighters. There's some very critical details that make a giant difference in this fight. Whittaker's been hurt multiple times. He's been dropped. He's hard to finish. Gastelum has only been hurt against Adesanya in like a crazy war. You know, and so if Whittaker's been dropped with a punch and Gastelum only got hurt and dropped and almost stopped in a crazy wild war, Gastelum could just take it there, and he could, you know, hand trap and move in and get close and make it dirty and pull, you know, and fight like Cormier and turn it into a wild brawl, and he'd probably get the better of it. I don't know if he's gonna fight like that. He might. Him and Whittaker, I don't know if they have beef, but like they were supposed to fight, and then Whittaker dropped out and had surgery, and then Gastelum was talking shit, saying that he should be the champ now because Whittaker dropped out. So there might be some animosity, and if it goes that way, Gastelum probably would win that kind of a fight, honestly. I think Gastelum's got better combinations and faster hands. Whittaker tends to like to fight long and from a distance. That's a secondary factor in this fight that makes a giant difference. The fight is Gastelum's to win or lose, in my opinion. I think he needs to pressure Whittaker. I think he needs to make it a war because, you know, if he fights conservatively and waits and explodes at certain times the way that Yoel did against Whittaker, I think Whittaker moves too much and is too consistent with the striking to win like a slow match like that. You know, and the way he put it on Israel is by making a quick, dirty fight. You know, with a really high pace. I know it's more dangerous to do that against Whittaker because he hits way harder, but I don't see Gastelum getting hit with the type of shots that Whittaker throws. Whittaker, I'm not gonna say he's not accurate, but like something he like, I don't know if he doesn't counterpunch or like what it is, but like he doesn't land those like real powerful shots right as you're coming in, like the way he needs to in certain fights. Even against the Brunson fight where Brunson came at him like a bat out of hell, he didn't like time Brunson as he was coming in and drop a giant right hand on him. Brunson came in and they were repositioning, and Whittaker has such good footwork, he got in position first and then dropped left hooks on him. And even hit him with counter left hooks on the way in, but like not the way that he would need to stop like a charging fighter. It's more like someone charges and then he repositions. So the fight is in Gastelum's court to win or lose, and I think Gastelum maybe has learned his lessons against Till. Till and Whittaker are both very similar fighters. You know, where they're rangy, you know, they hit hard, and they have good in and out and lateral movement. They're both movers, you know, and you saw that in the fight. Like, you know, they both fought very similar, and they're both jumping in with similar punches, and the guy that got caught was the guy getting hurt. And I don't see Gastelum making the same mistakes he did against Till. I think he wasn't 100% ready for that Till fight. I think Adesanya had really put it on him, and he wasn't mentally or physically recovered. And I think this Gastelum fight, or this Whittaker Gastelum fight, is going to be different. I think Gastelum's going to bring the heat. You know, Whittaker's hopefully ready to deal with the dude, ready to bring the heat, because I think that's what Gastelum's bringing. And Gastelum has the ability to do that. He's got the durability, he's got the stamina, he's got the power. You know, he doesn't have pill hands. Like, he doesn't hit the hardest, and Whittaker probably hits harder in a single punch, but he's better at mid-range combinations, and you can't just, like, walk through Gastelum's punches. So, maybe Whittaker lands some tricky stuff, but Whittaker tends to not do that as much in a wild fight. You know, he did it against this last guy, his name maybe starts with a C, I can't remember, where he lands some tricky stuff, but that's another slow-paced fight. You know, it's dangerous to fight like that, just pressure, move in, and be wild on a guy, but I think that's like Gastelum's path to victory. Maybe not the entire fight, maybe in spots, maybe at the end of a round, you know, where it's less dangerous, where if you do get caught, you can kind of back up and the round will end. Maybe start turning up in the middle of the fight. So those are my thoughts. I didn't think so, but I think Gastelum's got a slight advantage on paper. It's just up to him to execute. But Whittaker's game is fucked. You know, and I think that's something that he will be ready for and hopefully have a counter game plan. But on paper, Whittaker might be in trouble, especially in the clinch type area. If Gastelum likes to do the DC and pull collar ties and throw overhands or uppercuts and dirty box, and Whittaker tends to not, engage in that game. It tends to just get out of there and reposition himself and go back to the outside like he likes to do. So we'll see what happens. I kind of want Whittaker to win. I like Whittaker a lot. He complains a little bit, but that's okay. But if I had to bet, he might be in trouble against Gastelum, and there might be some real fireworks. And if Whittaker gets dropped, as long as Gastelum doesn't do anything stupid, try to take him down or hold him down or something like that, and he actually does ground and pound, Whittaker might be in deep shit. So that's it.